defects. This country is relying on consumption. That country is relying on infrastructure. So basically, when you look at it that way, the country that is spending more right now on consumption will have a better living standard than other countries within the short term. Get the point? Because you are spending on consumption, it means you are spending on goods and services, consuming the basic needs. As a result of that, your country will be having a better living standard than other countries that are spending on capital investment. Capital investment will not give a result now. It gives a result about the future. But consumer goods is about now. You'll be able to consume them now. So that's the difference between investing in capital goods and investing in consumer goods. Countries that invest in consumer goods will have a better living standard within the short period of time than countries that spend on capital goods. Capital goods is a long term. I think it's fair. So that's why it becomes difficult to measure the living standard, because this country is spending more now on consumption. That country is spending more now on capital. So they are not spending on the same expenditure. So it becomes difficult to compare the living standard. The next one, national income statistics do not put into consideration different externalities caused by production in different countries. When there's production, please put your head up. When there's production, there's always externalities. We talk about positive externality or negative externality. In as much as there's externality, the externality is not the same in different countries. So, country A, whatever we produce in each country, whatever is being produced, nobody records the externalities between them. The benefit of it is not recorded in our items. The costs, the problems of it is not recorded. So it means you're not talking about the welfare of people. If this country produces, let's say 5 million barrels of petroleum, what about the damage it causes to the society? Who measures that? Nobody measures it. The only thing we measure are the figures and are the output. That is all we measure. We don't measure the damage each has caused us. Do we get it? We are talking about the living standard. The living standard contains our health too. Our health, how we live, how much we spend, how much more we spend on healthcare, how much more we spend on education. All these things are part of our living standard. But the production of goods and services do not have a space to calculate what we spend on health based on the fact that there is production of goods and services. Let's get the point here. We produce goods. Firms emit carbon. Carbon is a demerit good because if we inhale carbon, it causes damage. It's harmful to our health. But nobody measures the damage it has caused. The only thing they measure is what it has been produced. What? Why do they measure the damage? Why is it compulsory for them to measure the damage? Thank you. It's compulsory for them to measure the damage because we're talking about the living standard. How we live, right? Does our health goes away from how we live? Does our health, please put your head up. Does our health goes away from how we live? No. How we live is still part of our health. So if our health is having issues based on pollution, who manages that? Who records that? A lot of production has been done in different countries. As a result, people's health becomes deteriorating. People have issues with their health, pollution. So these things are causing damage to the society, are causing damage to individuals within the society, but nobody measures it. So that is what we're talking about here. That production of goods and services are measured, but the damage goods and services caused are not measured. Production of goods and services are measured. The benefits it causes are not measured. So that means measuring the living standard is difficult. Do we get it, please? Yes. So, and the last one is about the market exchange rate. What is the market exchange rate? We're talking about the rate at which a currency is different in terms of the amount of value from another country. The rate of the dollar to the dinars, that is the exchange rate. I think we understand that. So, because we have different exchange rates, it becomes difficult to measure the living standard. You have dinars, we have dollars, we have naira. So how do we measure this? There are different currencies. So because we have different currencies, it becomes difficult to measure the living standard. And the only way out is through purchasing power parity. So get the point here. The last problem about measuring the living standard using national income is the exchange rate, which is the price of a country's currency against other currencies. So because we have different currency, it becomes difficult for us to measure it. So what do? We try to use purchasing power parity. So what is purchasing power parities? I wrote, PPP compares economic growth and living standards of different countries with a common currency or basket of goods. So you use dinars, we use naira, they use euro, she uses pounds. Okay, it's fine. But we want to measure the living standard. We're going to use a common currency, which is the dollar. So we're going to convert the dinars to dollar. We're going to convert the pounds to dollar. We're going to convert the euro to dollar. We're going to convert the naira to dollar. So everybody has dollar. So there's going to be a common ground to measure.
Why is it always dollars?
I'm just citing an example. It could be pounds. But what we have to understand is that when we have to compare those countries, we have to use a common currency. It might not be dollar, it could be pounds, it could be Dutch, but we have to use a common currency so that it becomes easier for us to know the difference between each country. You know, there's difference between countries here based on the fact that we have different currency. And each currency has different values. So we need to use a common currency to make us to know the difference between each currency in terms of how people live within that country. Oh, you spend $5. Oh, in Libya, an average person in Libya spends $5 dinars.
It's 50 dinars.
No, example. I'm making an example of, okay, let's say 5 dinars. So how do I know? Maybe an average person in US spends $2. So we need to have a common currency to know how much difference are there. So we're going to convert the dinars to dollar, we're going to convert the naira to dollar, or we convert the naira to dinars, the dollar to dinar, and the rest. But we have to use a common currency to solve this problem of market exchange rate. Do we get it, please? So what is purchasing power parity? I just said it already. So with PPPs, it becomes easier to compare the standards of living between countries as the common currency would have been used for the conversion. So we have converted into using one currency. So it becomes easier for us to understand how much more you spend, how much more I spend, how much less I spend, how much less you spend, because we have a common currency. So I'm going to say, oh, I used to spend $2. Oh, she used to spend $3. Oh, she spent $5. I'm sorry for using dollar, but it's just part of what I use. I think it's clear. So that's all about purchasing power parities and the limitations of measuring the country's GDP. Thank you.